So when it comes to building a home gym, it's overwhelming. There's so many things out there, from racks to benches to plates. There's a lot of options. So what I want to do today is I'm going to build a gym from $1,000 up to $8,000 and give you my opinions on what I've actually used in my gym to build out gyms in those budgets to help you guys figure out what can make sense for you guys in your home gym. I think this is going to be a good one. Hope you guys enjoy. All right, guys, really excited to make this video because I get a lot of questions about all-in-one racks, and I think it is the cornerstone, the centerpiece of anyone who talks to me seems like is what they're looking for. So I want to give my recommendations from $1,000 up to $8,000 with the all-in-one rack, and then build around that with whatever budget's left to create a functional home gym. If you buy any of this equipment, guys, all the brands that I have, every single link to the direct link to the product is in the description. It is all on lukesgaragebgym.com. You just click the link from the description or just go to my website if that's easier. Click the link, buy the product. As you have the link open, I get a small kickback. It is so helpful as a creator. Some of these brands like Echo or RitFit, I have some codes for you guys as well. When you click the link and use the code, it's just a very helpful way to support a small channel. And I am extremely blessed by the amount of people that are doing that for me. You seriously have changed my life. I've been doing this for, over 6 years. And the overwhelming amount of people reaching out to me puts the biggest smile on my face because I genuinely enjoy doing this. I am just trying my best to give people a good workout at home with the best equipment in their budget, and that's what I'm here for. And I'm really trying my best, and I appreciate everyone who watches, likes, comments, asks me questions, uses the links. It makes me so happy that I never gave up on Luke's Garage Gym and continue doing what I'm doing. Anyways, I could talk all day about how passionate I am, but I think first thing we got to do is we got to start at the bottom and then work our way to the top. So if you are working with $1,000, which I've had people ask that, here's where I would start if you had $1,000 based off of what I've used. Number one, Drone 1. I think the Drone 1 for Major Fitness is a good starting point for a beginning lifter, maybe a middle school kid, a high school kid, anyone who's not your power lifter, who's looking to push the limits, or someone who's been a long time workout advocate and you're just wanting to get started at home and you're in that budget because you don't want to spend a lot of money right now because you might not have the money or you're wanting to see if it's even right for you. I like the Drone 1. It's a pretty good rack because, it's got your functional trainer, it's got your power rack, it's 14 gauge steel, 2x2 uprights. What I like about that rack too, guys, is that you get an array of attachments that come with the rack, which, stands out to me the most. Like you get straps, a barbell pad, a rope, handles, lat pull-down bar, a landmine piece, a curl bar, some dip bars. Pulley system's not bad, 2-1 ratio, but I did think that what I liked, the triangle support brackets that they put on it for extra reinforcement, made it feel like, for me, if I was doing 185 for a bench or 185 for a squat and I were to rack it, I didn't think it was going to crash and burn and kill me. For $500, it's not bad. It's not. And these things could be going on sale as you're watching this. Links in the description, support your boy. So I think that's a good start for $1,000. Now, you obviously need to go from there. The next thing you need is a barbell because there's no Smith machine in this. So this is my opinion. Again, if you want some Rogue Ohio bar or you want these $400, $500 bars, I got a lot of buddies out there. Basement Brandon's actually a really good recommendation. He knows a lot about the powerlifting community, if he's watching this or not. But me personally, I don't personally need to spend $300 on a freaking bar. I've used this bar in the past. It's worked fine. And it's extremely affordable, especially on Amazon right now, is the RitFit Amazon barbell. They have it on their website, but Amazon right now for RitFit is cheaper for around $150. The knurling was decent. and I did not feel like putting on a couple plates on that thing was going to bend and crash and burn on me. It's a bar. It does what you need to do. Most people are not looking to bench 315 or 415 or not, because they're just trying to stay healthy at home for their kids, their family, and themselves. That bar works fine. I have a buddy out there, shout out to my boy out there who ended up getting the bar. He talked to me the other day about it. He's like, hey, Luke, that bar's fine, dude. My clients use it. It does a job and some. That's the bar I would use. Now, plates for $1,000. I hate bumper plates, guys. I'm not going to lie. I like the rubber-coated handle plates, but they're more expensive. In this budget of $1,000, I personally have not used these, so this is like one of the only pieces I've never used, but based off the feedback in the community on these Facebook groups, check out these 260 pound set of cap bumper plates for $229 on Amazon. I've heard that they're decent. I think weight is weight, especially you're creating a home gym with $1,000. You kind of have to understand you're not going to get top tier quality Rogue equipment. It's just not going to happen unless you go through Marketplace. But this video is not Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace. It's just not, it's not what we're doing here. You got your bar, you got your plates, you got your rack, and with a little bit of money left, you need a bench. You're going to notice that this bench literally is just on every single one of my budget builds because it is very well built, a very good company, been around for over 25 years. The bench I recommend, the Deltech Fid Bench for $199. I did a review of all their attachments, which is nice to know you can add an ecosystem to that bench in a versatile, functional, space-saving home gym. And that bench is perfect. It's built. Pad was nice. The ladder system, I felt very safe and secure doing all of my movements for $200. Brother, this is great. People were like, oh, Luke, that freaking pad, that gap between that pad sucks. It's like a couple inches, man. I don't care. Personally, how I train, it doesn't really, I'm not going to spend, I would never spend $600, $500, $600 on the bench ever. You'll probably never see a review of that on this channel because I just will not. I won't. It's never going to happen because I don't need that. But I know people in this budget, they can't afford that either. So that is my $1,000 budget. You'll have to let me know what you think. The Drone 1, RitFit Amazon barbell, cap bumper plates, the Deltech Fid Bench. You have everything you need to hit a full body workout with that system, especially those attachments to the Drone 1 to get you started. All right, moving on to the next budget of $2,000. Now, the first thing I would start with, obviously every budget starts with an all-in-one rack, and my pick is the M1 Pro from RitFit, the plate-loaded option, which I think is the best plate-loaded functional trainer Smith machine half rack for anyone balling on a budget around $1,000 to $1,200. That's my pick, in my opinion. So we're gonna get a little bit more interesting with that. I would also get is their new accessories. I'd get their 11 gauge uprights. I would suggest the 1-to-1 ratio piece. And then I would also get the lat pull down seated row piece. So that puts you around $1,500, give or take a few dollars and cents. You still got around $500 left. And we're going to keep the Deltech Fid Bench because that bench is going to be exceeding in everything you need to get you started at home. I would still use the cap bumper plates. So we still have around $150 left. So it's the last thing you need. Well, honestly, the nice thing is you do have a Smith machine. You don't really need a barbell, but I think it's nice to have a barbell because especially for this build, those 11 gauge uprights will be nice because it's a little bit of a beefier upright. If you wanted to get a little bit more serious with some of your weight, you got your 260 pound set there. I mean, you want to put 260 on there and bench and smack it against those uprights. Well, with that 11 gauge steel 2x2 upright with 1-inch holes now on your RitFit rack, you could probably do that. So that would be my $2,000 setup, representing RitFit as the centerpiece of your gym. So moving on to $3,000, what is the centerpiece of that $3,000 build? Well, she's right behind you, but with the twist, is the Echo half rack. Not with the Smith machine, just the half rack. Using Luke's Garage Gym for 15% off puts that bad boy at around $1,800. Yes, insane. 94 inches tall, 11 gauge steel, 3x3 tubing, 200-pound stacks on each side. Hello, winner, winner, chicken dinner. That is a freaking beefy rack and good customer service, supporting a small business. I already built a really good relationship with them, so I recommend them, and they're an up-and-coming brand that I think is offering very high-quality products for an affordable price. Not everyone can spend $5,000 to $6,000 on an all-in-one rack, and seeing that you can get something like that half rack functional trainer for under $2,000 with Luke's Garage Gym, 15% off, that's amazing. There's some workarounds with it, which we'll get to in a little bit, but what else would you get next? So you still got well over almost $1,200 left. So I would get their attachment bundle. So using 15% off of Luke's Garage Gym, that puts around $415. That attachment bundle gives you your lat pull-down seat, your low row attachment, and your weight horns, because obviously you want to utilize those two things for your pulling movements, and obviously lat pull-downs, low rows. The weight horns are important because you're going to put on your plates for that. The next thing I would get is, you guessed it, what bench? Same one. I'm going to get the Deltech bench as well for $199. No need for anything else for exactly how quality that bad boy is for that price. What else is next? Well, you're going to need a barbell. This doesn't have a Smith machine. What barbell are we going to use? The same freaking one, because I think it's just fine for what you need, especially if you're only spending $3,000 on an entire home gym. I think it'll work just fine to get the job done. The beauty of it is, over time, you can always upgrade these little things like this, but it's good to get started. RitFit Amazon barbell for $149.99 is my barbell of choice. Now, I'm actually getting fancy and adding a couple things to this list. I'm going to go with these rubber-coated Amazon plates that are around I think it's a 250-pound set for $379.99. So, to be honest with you, I'm taking a shot in the dark with these. This is a product just like the cap that I've never personally had in the gym, but I'm going off of reviews and going off of weight is weight, and I cannot stand bumper plates. I'm going to give those a shot, so we're going to roll with that. Now, the next piece is, since this is a 2-to-1 ratio, you get is this multi-grip lat bar extender that connects these together, and you can hook up your cable attachments for your high pulls and your low pulls for getting that feel weight of the stacks on each side. And shout out to DD Fitness for a sick hack to hold your legs down if you get that link attached to do your pulls. All you got to do is he used the spotter arms and he connected a bar and put his barbell pad, and it held you down when you're doing your high pulls. I think that's a huge win. And if you ever wanted to do is like combat the 2-to-1 ratio, I don't have this on here. You can get a gym pin on this side to add some weight, or you could easily just pull this down, got your multi-grip, and then when you're doing a row, you could set up maybe like a couple dumbbells that are pretty heavy that don't really move much to weigh you down. This is until he gets his articulating arms and the attachment that goes on both sides here to weigh you down. So it's just something to work around. Dude, for $1,800 for 11 gauge 3x3 tubing, like, bro, we'll find a way to work around the minimal things of that. I also added in is these Yes for All attachments, because he doesn't really give a lot of attachments besides just these D handles for cable attachments. So I like that these Yes for All attachments, you get your curl bar, your push down bar, you get your rope, you get your row handle. I mean, for $50, I've actually had those for probably 6 years. They're in the gym somewhere. I've used them 1,000 times throughout my journeys of, technically this is actually my third home gym. So they've done nothing but wonders for me. So that puts me a little over $3,000. But still, I think for $3,000, that's your setup. Dude, that's a full body workout and more, and pretty sweet setup. All right, we're going to $4,000. So I've got a little bit of wiggle room, about $900 left based off of my last build. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have the cornerstone of my rack is still Echo and still the half rack. No Smith machine right now. So that's still around a little over $1,800. And then I'm gonna get the bundle again for $415. But I still have a decent amount of wiggle room, around $1,800 left or so, to be able to build this gym. We're gonna stick to the Deltech bench for $200, $199. It is perfect to get the job done. I think it's a great piece. So here is a new addition that, honestly, if you got the space, is a dedicated leg extension leg curl machine. So we're really not working with much money left. So this is the one that I was brainstorming. I've tested a lot of these, but in my personal opinion, I really would go with the RitFit one right now. You know, on this video, and you know, hitting the link and then the code at checkout, you know, it puts it under $400. And personally, to me, I like that cable resistance for the lying leg curl. Leg extension, obviously, as you go heavier and heavier, it's more of a flex because, you know, of the concern of what the ratio actually is when you're the feel weight. But for how I train anymore and my knee injuries and my past injuries to my knee, I don't really need to be doing a bunch of weight for leg extensions anymore. I really just want mobility back. And there's ways to combat that ratio is by slow and controlled. And, you know, also too, it's a budget machine. You got to understand the workarounds, you know, on a budget. But I think for a budget, it's a great starting point. And those workarounds, I think you can combat those to get started at home. The next part, which is, it's funny because people are probably like, Luke, why have you not done any dumbbells? Well, we haven't had enough freaking money. Well, I'll tell you right now, we have the PowerBlock Elite XP with the expansion kit to 70 pounds through Amazon, which is in the description. Support your boy for around almost $600. I think PowerBlocks are one of the best adjustable dumbbells in the market. Been around for a long time, a very good reputation. The cage design is something you can work around. You know, I personally have used the Elite XP at my brother's house. You know, I have friends that have it. And I think the great thing about this is if you wanted to get up to 90 pounds, this is extra $200 that you could save to get to. But I think most people starting with that is a good starting point for you at home. People are probably going to say, well, you need like a stand. You know, you could get a stand online. I've seen people use the plyo box, DIY versions to save money, but some people just leave them on the floor. You know, you could. It's totally up to you. But these builds are good to get you started at working out at home with pretty much almost everything you need. Now, the next thing is I'm going to keep those rubber coated Amazon plates for around $379.99 because I can't, again, prefer those over bumpers. We're keeping the RitFit Amazon barbell. We're going to obviously get that multi-grip bar to connect these together for that one-to-one for your high pulls, or if you want to do the low rows with that hack I said. And we're still going to keep those Yes for All attachments to add on to your Echo rack for all those different, the push downs, the curls, to rows, which I think for $50 is a good option. And puts you still around a little over $4,000 for that setup based off where we're at right now in the economy and the market, which it's a pretty sweet setup, dude. Not gonna lie. All right, now we're getting to half of 10G, baby. We've got a $5,000 build. And what exactly am I gonna start with? Well, I'm gonna go with Echo again, but we're gonna add in their Smith machine because that Smith machine is 45 pounds. This thing could probably take up to 500 pounds. These guy rods are super thick. These spotters here are pretty thick and beefy. The trade-off is it doesn't go low enough for RDL or hip thrust, but I really don't care because there's other pieces of equipment in this build that I'll just go do that with to combat those small issues. With the Echo half rack, with the Smith machine, almost 94 inches tall, using code Luke's Garage Gym for 15% off, puts that around close to $2,300. Jesus Christ, it's absurd for this freaking beefy baby. We're still gonna get the Echo attachment bundle with the row, lat pull down piece, row plate, lat pull down piece, and the weight horns for $415. Still sticking strong with that bench from Deltech. Still sticking strong with the RitFit leg extension leg curl. Still sticking strong with the RitFit Amazon barbell. We're gonna go with the rubber coated Amazon plates for $379.99. We're still gonna stick to the PowerBlock Elite XP expansion kit to 70 pounds. We're still going to get that multi-grip lat bar for this. The Yes for All attachments. The only two things that I added into this, number one is getting a dedicated lat pull down low row. I enjoy that. You know, I personally, if I had the space, I would use, this is just your functional movements, functional trainer movements. I have my own dedicated spot on the side if I had the space for lat pull downs in low rows. you know, we don't have much money left, and the weight stack options are just not happening with this budget build. So I am gonna go with my boys over at Deltech and their plate loaded lat tower that sits at $399, you know, around that area, and gets the job done and well to be able to pull for some heavy lat pull downs and some heavy rows. And I also did is added on 70 more pounds to our 85 more pound rubber coated plates from that same brand to be able to have more weight for the lat pull down piece and for this piece for the Smith machine. So for $5,000, that's kind of where I stand. And I mean, that's a full body workout and more with that setup. So things are about to change a little bit here. We're now at $6,000, and how would I build a $6,000 gym? Number one, my first thing I would use is the MAXUM Fitness X2. Not the SX2, the X2. That's the 6-post rack with 11 gauge steel, 3x3 tubing, 1-inch holes, articulating arms, 220 pound stack on each side with weight horns on the top, and an array of attachments to get you started at home with so much versatility. So that's $3,600. If you guys did not know, if you're in Canada and you watch my videos, I have a Canadian link on lukesgaragegym.com or in the description. I have the US link on lukesgaragegym.com or in the description. If you end up buying MAXUM, click the link, check out. Again, support your boy. It's around $3,600. It's 88.5 inches tall. We're still sticking with the bench from Deltech because I think that, why? You don't need anything else. That thing's perfect for what you need to get done. Here's a leg machine that we're gonna go with. We're upgrading from RitFit to the GMWD. You might not see it, it's sitting right there. I'm looking at it right now. Is the commercialized GMWD leg extension line leg curl machine. It's their LE08 version 2. And my God, is that thing not only built like a tank, but the smoothest freaking leg extension leg curl machine I've ever used. I swear to God, I'm preferring that over my peak strength one right now because it's just so freaking smooth. I don't want to get too crazy because I want to make my full review. Check out Gluck's video. He did a great job on that. But dude, that thing is awesome. Awesome. It is so nice. Well worth $1,000. It is freaking incredible. It blew me away. I hope I have it forever. I think I will. And then we're going to still stick to the RitFit Amazon barbell because you have this. This is a 6-post rack, no Smith machine. You can use that barbell inside of the 4 uprights there, which is nice. With those 4 uprights, you get a power rack feel if you want to do your main Olympic lifts. I'm going to add some Yes for All attachments for $50 because I like those. Some of the attachments that MAXUM gives, like the lat pull down piece and the handles are okay. They're not bad, but I prefer the tricep push down and the curl bar from the Yes for All package, and the row handle from MAXUM is actually not bad, but it's nice to have the variety. I'm going to stick with the rubber coated Amazon plates for 250 pounds for $379.99. I'm not going to get any more plates because I don't need to, because I'm only going to use the plates for any sort of powerlifting movements, and I'm not going over 250. I'm not. I might use them for like the weight horns on the top too. But the beauty of this MAXUM rack is, dude, like, you don't have to converge those arms together. One side is 220 pounds with the weight horns. That's plenty to do anything, from a high pull to low row. So I don't really need all that weight. It doesn't make sense. And obviously, we're still going to stick with the PowerBlocks Elite XP with the expansion kit to 70 pounds for $600. And listen, that's a pretty nice setup. Didn't end up getting the dedicated Deltech piece because I don't need it. With that, how big those stacks are with the weight horns on top, I can do lat pull downs, I can do low rows. I don't need that dedicated machine if I have that type of rack in my gym. All right, y'all, so for $7,000, we're gonna give the Smith machine a shot, which I recommend is the MAXUM Fitness SX2. I've never used the SX3. It looks the exact same, looks like the pulleys. Pulleys are moved around a little bit differently. 1-inch holes, the X3 has. That's really the main things that I noticed is the difference, and the articulating arms can attach to the Smith bar, but I mean, I really don't care. I personally, I can make a full video about I don't need 1,000 freaking attachments to my rack. I'll get to a point where I don't even want to use it because it's too overwhelming. That is my opinion. It comes with enough to do everything you need and more. So we're gonna go with the SX2 for MAXUM Fitness. We're gonna stick to the bench from Deltech. We're gonna keep the GMWD leg machine. I put this multi-grip lat bar in here, which I don't know if I mentioned, that's in the $6,000 build too, because you can connect the arms together if you want. You don't really need to. You can just like pull them together and then get like a smaller one to hook up, but whatever, it's like 50 bucks, so it's still nice to have. I put the RitFit Amazon bar in here for 150 bucks, because I guess you never know if you might ever want to use it in the front for something. It's just nice to have a bar. You know, if you're spending 7,000 bucks, you never know. Maybe a friend or family member wants to do that. Probably don't need to with the Smith machine. It is nice that Smith machine goes extremely low. For if you really wanted to get down there for a hip thrust, you probably could. It's the lowest one that I've tested currently on RDLs and, you know, the main lifts like that. Still keeping the Yes for All attachments, but we have upgraded our PowerBlocks to 90 pounds because we're like, you know what, I got an extra 200 bucks. Why not just get all the way up to 90? Screw it. You know, the Elite XP up to 90. We got that. The rubber coated Amazon plates to 250 pounds, and I added the 85-pound set as well. You know, it's nice to have for the bar if I did want to do barbell work or someone else did, or if you want to put extra plates on. You know, you got some extra money, you never know. So that setup still puts us a little under 7,000 bucks. The $6,000 setup, it was barely over 6,000 bucks. And just a disclaimer, the economy and everything is different all the time. So if you watch this video in 6 months, it might not be exact. I couldn't get it exact same because you just never know. Prices could decrease or increase, but it's nice to know a ballpark range of what you can get for around that budget. Like I said, this is a rough estimate of the builds of where we're at, but here's the $8,000 build. And is there anything that I added differently to this? Well, here's what we got. Sticking to the MAXUM SX2. We're sticking to the bench from Deltech. We're sticking to the GMWD leg machine. Got the multi-grip lap bar still, the Yes for All attachments. We got the rubber-coated plates on Amazon still for $379. Adding the 85-pound set for $159.99. Sticking to the 90-pound PowerBlock EXP kit to a little over 800 bucks, but with some money I have left, I was like, you know what? I would want to get another leg machine, and I want a leg press because I like leg press, but I don't want a giant one to take up so much freaking space, especially when you want something compact. So this is based off of, you know, seeing it at the convention centers and a lot of recommendations online. We're going with the Force USA compact leg press hack squat machine for $1,000. Heard a lot of good things about it. You know, Coop did make his video. I saw that the piece ended up coming off in his video, but, you know, I would assume quality control, and that company's so freaking big that they, you know, obviously worked on those things after that video. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go with that because I like the compactness of doing a leg press. You can do a hack squat, great for my knee, and I have the space in a compact way. And I think that $8,000 build, Jesus, dude, what a freaking sight. You got your SX2, your GMWD piece, and then you got your hack squat, you got your PowerBlocks on the side, you got your plates and bar and your attachments. Like, brother, holy crap, you're set up for your life. That is insane. So I let me know what you think of these higher end builds as well. So those are my builds, guys. If you stick around for the whole video, that's from $1,000 to $8,000. I spent a lot of time researching this. I kind of went based off of my judgment of what I use and kind of what I think makes sense, and even like how I would train, what I would want to get in my gym. And these setups are perfect for pretty much most home gyms. It doesn't take up that much space, which is my goal too, because probably barely anyone watching this has a gym like mine. Mine's ridiculous. You know, it's just unrealistic, and I think these are great setups for people in all the different budgets. Again, if you buy any of this equipment, any of it, every link's in the description. Click it, check it out. Your boy gets a commission. Any of the codes from RitFit, obviously using the link and then putting the code is how I would get commission. You can't just put the code and not use the link. It's weird, I don't know. We still got the code. Make sure you use that too after you click the link to get some commission. Same with Echo, 15% off Luke's Garage and with Echo. That is huge. It's huge. And I can keep making these videos. and giving you more budget builds of trying new things. But it's an expensive passion. It is. So the audience members supporting me that way goes a long way. If you have any questions, email lukesgaragebgym@gmail.com. Send me a message on Instagram. Your boy's got you covered on any questions you have. And let me know in the comments what you think of this video. It was really fun. Can't wait to do more. I have a rack right here that did not make the video because I have just got it in literally the day before I filmed this. And this thing is pretty insane. Stick around for that video coming out. I'm thinking next week or the week after that. So make sure you subscribe and have your notifications on. This is Luke from Luke's Garage Gym. See you guys later.